Daniel Creel is our next Lion legend, a member of the UNA golf team from 2006 to 2008. He was a part of 3 consecutive NCAA tournament teams, a 3-time All-Gulf South Conference pick. He won the 2007 Gulf South Conference tournament while earning All-American honors that year. A member of the Gulf South Conference Team of the Decade for 2000 to 2009. He will be a part of the 32nd Hall of Fame class at North Alabama on the October 16th induction date, along with the homecoming festivities. Daniel Creel, thank you for being our next Lion legend.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We're going to jump through your career at North Alabama, some of your big memories, but for you, getting that call, letting you know that you were in the Hall of Fame, what was that like for you?
Man, it was really cool. It was a thing that was on the back of my head if I was ever going to receive that call, and actually getting the call was really special. And you know, it's pretty cool to talk to my kids now that I have children. I can tell them about it and how much it means to me, and just things that they can do as they play sports and what they can grow up to accomplish.
A native of Killen, Alabama, so a local product. You're back in the Shoals living here, but the University of North Alabama, what does this place mean to you?
It means a lot. You know, my granddad was a dean over biology here, so you know our family has a little bit of a legacy here, and just to be a part of that and the athletic side, and to be a part of history with the athletic side is pretty awesome, because my grandfather has history here. He has a auditorium over at the science building over there, so pretty neat to be part of the history here.
So let's get into it. And for you, growing up in the Shoals area, we talk about the great golf scene here in the Shoals area, but what was your introduction to golf at an early age?
So I was introduced to golf. My parents loved golf. My brothers, we played as a family all the time. And I actually started when I was 2 years old, believe it or not. I've got a 3, 6, and an 8-year-old, and I couldn't imagine trying to teach them golf at 2, but somehow my parents did it. And I played all the time with them. So, and we literally would go after school and play 2 or 3 holes 3 or 4 times a week. And didn't really take many lessons, just kind of watched and learned, and just grew up with the game. So I was, exposed to it at an early age and never stopped.
I want to jump to Brooks High School. You had a lot of success at the high school level, a team state championship as a junior. Your senior year, you won the individual championship. For you, how big of a deal were those championships in your high school career?
It was really big. So when we were growing up, both of my parents worked. My mom worked several jobs to allow me to play golf. My dad did too. He traveled a lot. So they didn't have much time to take off work to help travel to get me exposed to these college coaches and getting recruited. So I really had to show up in the high school events because it was on the school to travel. So even starting at my 9th and 10th and 11th grade year, I finished top 5 every year. And then I really wanted that victory, and I finally pulled it off my senior year. So it meant a whole lot.
You mentioned playing college golf. What was the recruitment process like for you before you landed at Alabama?
So I had several coaches contacting by mail, and again, we didn't really know where I would land at that time. And funny little story is I qualified for the U.S. Junior, and that was a huge, if it wasn't for that, I may not have signed with a D1 school. And traveled all the way to San Antonio, and luckily enough, we had some locals that offered their house up for us to stay in. And played there, and I actually had a pretty decent showing there, and I was wearing an Auburn visor. I really wanted to go to Auburn. And funny thing is we basically had an offer on that trip from Alabama, and my dad pretty much reached over my shoulder and shook his hand. Yes, we'll go to Alabama. And so it was awesome. So that was how the recruitment was handled there.
2 years at Alabama, what was that experience like?
It was awesome. Again, it was nothing like I've ever experienced before. It was they did so much for you. You're exposed to so much, and we traveled so well, and just everything. It was a really great experience, and it was awesome. So yeah, I was lucky to be there.
You mentioned the '02 U.S. Junior Amateur Championship that you played in. You also played in the '03 U.S. Amateur Open as well. But those experiences, playing in those amateur championships, how valuable were they?
They're very. It's an experience that a lot people just wish for, and it's a tough road to get there. You have to qualify at several sites to get there, and then you work your way up to the final event. And I've got to play really neat courses, and you're playing in USGA events. The courses are set up pretty much as like a major championship. So honestly, at that age, I probably wasn't ready for those types of courses. I've never been exposed to it before. It was very, very hard, but super duper experience, and I would love to get back there one day.
We talk a lot about the transfer portal these days, and you transfer back home to North Alabama, but there was no portal back then. So for you, how did you go from Alabama to North Alabama?
So what happened to me was when I was at the University of Alabama, I was playing tennis with a roommate of mine, and I fell and broke my wrist, and it actually stunk because it was the day before we were supposed to leave for the Jerry Pate tournament, which was actually a top 5 tournament field-wise in Division I golf. So when that hit, I go to the doctor, and basically it's a little bit more severe than I thought. I thought it could be just a sprain, but it ended up being a fractured wrist. And it was time for me to come on home. So I came home, and Coach Gamble calls and gives me an opportunity to come here. So it was an awesome phone call to get. I looked at the team. I saw the talent that we had, and I knew we could go a long way. So I accepted, and history is the rest. The rest is history.
We're going to jump into that history in just a moment, but when you look at the history of North Alabama golf, there's been a lot of All-Americans, and a lot of them have been local products. So did that play a factor in your decision to come back to North Alabama?
No, I really don't. I just knew we had a good program, and I knew they had been strong in the national championship contenders. I knew a handful of the previous golfers. There was 3 or 4 that I personally, when I came home when I was at Alabama, I'd played with them here. So I just knew that the coaching was good. The schedule was part of it too. We had a decent schedule for D2 golf, which is hard to do. So part of the scheduling was part of my decision as well. So just the opportunity. It was a good opportunity to come here.
As we start rolling through your UNA teams, you played with some fellow All-Americans, Wes Smith, Matt Gorgio. You touched on the talent, but just what was it like practicing, working with that caliber of talent every day?
Oh, it was good. I mean, we always gave each other a run for the money. We always had good competition and friendly competition, and never gambling, right? And but yeah, it was fun.
Let's talk about the head coach, Billy Gamble. Coach Gamble, give us some stories playing for him.
All right, where do we start? So Billy was an awesome guy, and actually looking back now, I didn't give him enough credit of how hard it was to probably coach a D2 golf team. As far as having to raise the money was just such a big deal. Everything that we did, I don't think I ever realized that he had to raise every dollar for us to go, but we'd always give him a hard time. Just a little funny story was we didn't always have matching team shirts even. We always got whatever was the cheapest on sale. It could be green and white for all we cared. It maybe didn't match. We even wore mock turtleneck short sleeve shirts sometimes. It never made sense to me. But we took it upon ourselves to go to eBay to buy purple shirts one time. And we bought these shirts, and I think it was one of my teammates, Jonathan Henderson, ordered them, and they were Lacoste shirts. So we were so excited to get them. We were looking forward to getting them to the event. And I remember when we got them, we got them, and some of us washed them in the washer, and I swear those things, you could see they weren't real Lacoste shirts. And so we tried to, do it ourselves, get our own gear, and it didn't work out. But anyway, it was a funny time that our shirts didn't fit at that tournament because of that.
We're going to jump into the great run that you guys have from 06 to 08 throughout your career, but a lot of it's going to center around the regionals. And I know the Gulf South Conference was stacked, but how tough were those regional tournaments just to make it to the national tournaments?
We had a really tough region. Even our conference was super tough. It was stacked the early years when I was playing for UNA, so it was always tough. There's a lot of good schools there. And I remember my first year here, I was actually, coming from D1 to D2, the caliber of golfers are the same. There's just more higher caliber golfers in D1, but your top 1 or 2 guys on every team is really, really good. So I was really impressed with how much competition there was within our conference and our region, and it was good competitive golf.
2006, your first year at North Alabama, first team all Gulf South Conference pick, your first of 3, 14th in the nation after a 3rd place finish in the region. But before we jump into the regional, that first year, is there anything that jumps out at you?
Yeah, so what I remember there was our first tournament. I believe we were, it was at Pickwick. It was in Pickwick, Tennessee, so at the Muni course there. And I remember I was like, man, did I make a mistake? We're going to play a Muni course in Pickwick, Tennessee. And we hop in the van and go up there. And it was a little awkward because it was my first event traveling with the team, so we all didn't really know each other. But honestly, I do remember that van ride every day there because we got to know each other, and I think I gained their trust pretty quickly. And we go in there, and I actually had a good event. I think my first event out there, I finished 6th place and had a good showing, good final round. But I do remember that first event. From there, I don't really remember much, but that first event, I remember just the cohesiveness of the team was good.
Third at the region, and you guys had a lot of great regional success. But that first year, what made that regional so memorable?
So that regional, I believe we were in Oklahoma, and we didn't play well. We didn't have a good round going at all, and we were one of the first teams to go off because we weren't in contention. So we were just kind of just going through the repetitions and just going to finish the round. And we actually played pretty good, and I remember the wind picking up, and out in Oklahoma the wind would pick up out of nowhere, and we just kept watching that leaderboard, and we just kept seeing the scores getting higher and higher and higher and higher. And of course, me, it was my first year at UNA. I was so excited that, hey, we might be able to go, and we were all, literally, we didn't play the best golf, but again, we played better than the rest on that final day, and we made it to national title, or the national championship, and that was just, that was pretty cool to see.
Want to jump down to 2007, and that was a big year for you individually. Again, a first-team All-Gulf South Conference selection. You made it to the South Region team as well, and you're an All-American after winning the Gulf South Conference Tournament Championship. We're going to jump into the postseason run, but for you individually, all your years playing golf, just how memorable was that 2007 season?
2007 was a good year. Going back in the scores, I didn't remember that I placed so high. I think I was just chasing wins the whole time, and if I didn't win, I wasn't satisfied, honestly. And but looking at it, it was pretty impressive. I had a lot of top fives, and but yeah, it was a good run. I tell you what, one of the biggest goals of my life was met that year, and it was a first-team All-American. I was super excited when I received that honor. I was highly ranked amongst GolfStat, which is a program. It's a database that keeps up with all NCAA golf, and I was ranked high on that. It was just a really solid year for me.
You tied with Jason Flowers of Valdosta State for the Gulf South Conference Championship. Your second year at North Alabama, you'd won the state championships in high school, but to get the individual honors in college, how special was that?
It was cool because again, I mean, you win a conference championship, and even going into that tournament, we just wanted to win as a team. I actually didn't think about the individual title there, and when I got it, oh my, it was just the icing on the cake. That was super cool, and I carry that. I still have the plaques on my wall in my office. I mean, that is special to me.
So that sets up the regional, and that 07 regional was big. You guys were hosting it out at Robert Trent Jones of the Shoals, and first off, having a regional on your home turf, what was the mindset for you guys heading in?
Yeah, it was. There's a lot of pressure because again, our region is pretty tough, and but we played that course all the time, so the odds were with us. But at the same time, that you're out there individually, you're separated from your team. A lot of that pressure takes its toll, and we were a little worried about having it and hosting it because we didn't have any excuse not to make it. But as you can see the scores and as we finished, it worked out on our side, and we played good, and we advanced to the national championship that year.
So you guys won the regional, and it was a tight finish. And at that time, there was no live hole-by-hole scoring. So you sort of found out scores as guys turned it in. You turned in the final scorecard of the day for North Alabama, a 65 for you. That round, where does it rank amongst some of the rounds you've played?
Cool round. I've been going through it in my head because I don't really remember a whole lot about it. I just remember the last hole, and it was after talking to my mother. She was the one that kind of remembered the situation because Billy must have knew, Coach Gamble knew where we were in our standings, and he just knew basically get a par and we got this title, you know. And but for me, I had 65 on my mind or making a birdie or whatever. I'm not going to give up, maybe an ace. You never know what can happen, but if you don't try to go for the flag, you never know what's going to happen. So again, he told me to go for the middle of the green. The wind is blowing off the river. If anybody knows that hole at RTJ 18, and the pin was on the right side, and of course I hit a laser beam right at the hole, and it was about 4 feet, and I knocked it in for birdie for the 65, which was awesome. And I was pumped because I knew, being from here, that killed the course record out there for an event. and I was so excited to have, because a lot of people come and play in that course and how tough it is, and they come in like, hey, what's the course record? You get people traveling the country, and they come out there, and it would be like, hey, Daniel Creel has it from North Alabama, but the group behind me, the guy came in and shot 64. So I had the course record for 5 minutes, and then it was taken.
You guys finished 12th in the Nationals, and that sets the stage for 2008, your final year. Again, a super talented team. You guys have had a lot of regional success, come up short at the national level, but '08, practice, mindset-wise, what was it like for that talented group heading into that final run?
It was, you know, I sat out during the fall, and then I came in the spring, so I hadn't been with my team for a whole semester, so we really didn't know really what was going on, but I did stay practicing with them a little bit. And then when we came in the spring, they had a pretty good fall, so I knew going in the spring we had a shot because our standings were still good, but again, we just have to get to that regional tournament. And but again, the team came back together, and we were ready to face it head on, and I played, it almost seamlessly came from the end of '07 to '08 to the end of '08. You know, out that one semester, I started playing good golf again, so again, helped the team, and we had solid players. Brett Munson, can't say enough about him. He stepped up his game, and he started playing so good that year. Of course, Matt Gorgio, David Geese, and Wes Smith. I mean, we all came together and just played good golf to get us there.
National tournament arrives down in Houston, Texas. Let's talk about this. You finish in a three-way tie in the final round with West Florida and St. Edwards. West Florida would eventually win it, but take us through that sudden death, just that whole championship experience.
So pretty neat. You know, we can fast forward to the fourth day, and the course was really pretty tough. And West Florida was basically had ran away with it, and UNA, we weren't even really in the mix. We were outside maybe fifth place, sixth place going into the final round. I don't really remember where we were, but in West Florida's mind, we weren't even in the mix. But actually, I guess we were third place. We were third place because we were in the final grouping with them, but we were so many shots back, I think is what it was. And I was playing with their number one guy, and my round wasn't going terrible, but it wasn't like I wasn't just shooting any kind of course record out there. But what we didn't know was how my other teammates were. My teammates stepped up that last day and came in super low. Next thing we know, I'm coming in, and they're like, we're tied for first, and I had no idea. I mean, my guys, they came through solid, and they earned us that spot. My other four teammates earned us that spot that year. They did really good on that final round. They came in solid.
The sudden death playoff, how memorable was that, just having that opportunity to play for the national championship?
It was awesome. And you know, it's a three-way playoff, so you're like, there's many ways of actually doing it. We didn't know which way that they would do it. And what they did is they had all their number one seeds play a hole, their number two seeds play a hole. So every seed is playing a different hole, and then they're adding up the total scores at the end and to see who won. And again, it's number one seed, so we played hole number one. Number two seeds played hole number two. Number three played number three. And again, the nerves were there, and super nervous already. I hit my drive off the tee, hit it down the middle of the fairway, hit it better on that drive than I did my other four rounds. And then all of a sudden a camera comes out of nowhere, and it ends up being CBS. I guess it was CBS, whoever plays the U.S. Open on TV every year, CBS. And their camera guys out there out of nowhere videotaping this thing. And I mean, literally my mind, it was like an outer body experience. I just wasn't there. And I just got so nervous and ended up bogeying my hole, so it wasn't a great finish on my part. But again, we lost it by a shot, and you know, we finished second that year. So all in all, solid. And the thing is, you know, that bogey I had to live with for a whole year basically. And then before the U.S. Open played the next year in 2009, I guess it was, I got to replay it because they played the whole session on national TV, and I got to watch it happen from the couch. So it was pretty funny that I had to relive that moment. But anyway, it was an awesome experience.
Overall at North Alabama, 28 total tournaments, 17 top 10 finishes. Any other memorable rounds that jump out at you as you reflect back at your career at North Alabama?
No, I mean, I had a lot of good rounds out there. It was fun. Again, we had a lot of good finishes. It's funny that the most miserable rounds probably stand out more than the better rounds. And go back to our national championship in 2006. Believe it or not, we didn't have a good finish, but it was in Virginia, and the national championship's in the middle of May. So it shouldn't be cold, right? So we all go down there and we're packing. All we had were shorts, short sleeve shirts, and some rain gear. That's all that you could foresee. Well, every meteorologist missed it in the whole southeast, east coast. Next thing we know, there's a cold front coming in and the temperature was like 38 degrees and it's sleeting. We had nothing. And this course was held at a conference center. It was a course at a conference center. So all they had was a gift shop. There really wasn't even a pro shop there. So we're wearing like these huge conference center sweatshirts. It was just a memory I'll have forever, just because of how cold it was and how unprepared we were, and it was a lesson learned for me. But also one of the hardest course setups I ever played. A USGA guy came in and set it up. He turned 2 par 5s into par 4s. It was playing like 7,600 yards. Then the temperature being 37, 38 degrees didn't help. But I mean, that course wore us out. But that is a memory I'll never forget on that, playing golf in the sleet in shorts.
You're part of a great run at North Alabama. UNA Golf has had a lot of success. You can compare the different eras, but again, looking back at the era you guys had, those runs through the NCAA tournament, how proud are you of everything you guys accomplished?
Yeah, super proud. And again, not taking anything away from the guys, the teams before us or after us, but again, looking at it, I think those 5 guys, and again, even the 6th man, 7th man, they jumped in the lineup every now and again. We just had a solid team. We were deep, and again, that's kind of what in Division II you battle. All the good Division II teams have 1 or 2 really good golfers, and then it really quickly drops off. We had 5 guys that could play some golf and could go under par anytime. So, man, I was pumped to be a part of it, and just be a part of the legacy here for the golf team.
Now, golf for you did not stop after North Alabama. Take us through some of what you did on the professional level as you continued your career.
So, you can see I graduated in 08, and I had some good seasons. And what I did was I raised quite a bit of money for myself to go hit the road and start playing these mini tours and just try. These mini tours are just getting you repetitions to qualify for Monday qualifiers and that end goal of Q school. And then the market crashed in 08, so all that money that I had lined up for my investors literally just disappeared. But luckily my father had saved up enough for me to hit the road, had a little bit of cash, and went out there and played for about 6 months. And played on the tour called E-Golf Tour. It kind of replaced the Hooters Tour, and it became the Tar Heel Tour, or it was the Tar Heel Tour and then became the E-Golf Tour. Played well. I never missed a cut. I was always in the money. But again, it was just such a grind on the money just disappeared so fast. I mean, my first tournament, I had a top 10 finish. I'm shooting 11, 12 under, and all I'm winning is $3,000. I mean, that doesn't go very well. It barely gets my next entry fee plus a hotel room. So it was just a grind. You had to finish, top 2, top 3 to make some money. So I did that. And then I decided that wasn't for me, and I ended up getting engaged to my wife now, Brandy, and so I decided to get off the road and start teaching and become, an assistant pro somewhere. So I started at RTJ. We grew up out there playing golf as far as in the college world, knew the facilities, knew the staff, so they hired me on out there, and then I went to Turtle Point and became a golf professional there and did some teachings, and then, again, I wanted to play a lot. And when you're in that world, you don't get to play a lot. So I did that for 2 years and then got out of the business and doing what I do now, which is sales.
And so for you, you're still involved in the local golf scene. I want you to tell UNA fans about the app that you've developed with another former UNA golfer. So over the years, so now that I sell insurance and I have an agency, and again, now I've become a little bit more established. I have a little bit more time to do what I love, which is teach golf. And the junior programs locally are just struggling. I see there's a lot of the talent. There's plenty of talent in the Southeast. We're in Alabama. We got the privilege of playing year-round golf, but yet I just don't see many stars that are coming up. So what me and Jason Vaughn did, which is a former All-American for UNA, is he teaches full-time. We approached each other and just thought, hey, let's get together and let's try to help this, and let's attack this
the lack of junior golf around here and try to get involved in the community. So what we did is we started with creating an app. This app, you can download it. It's called VC Golf, and for Vaughn Creel Golf. And basically we go through the basics of golf teaching, so it's like YouTube videos just of us teaching, but also you book your online, you can do online lessons, you can send videos of your junior golfer, your son, your daughter, whatever it is, send them to us, and then basically we voice over and draw the lines and give golf instruction, especially now that COVID's been around. People are hesitant of seeing people in person, and just how chaotic and how the world is. People are working and don't have time to come out and get lessons. So we thought, hey, we can give lessons through this app. And so yeah, we just launched that. It's literally only a couple of weeks old. And so we'll see how it goes, and hopefully that we can make a big dent in the junior golf part of this area and grow it again.
So you're in the Shoals area selling insurance, still involved with golf, but last thing for you, one of the last things, just give UNA fans an update on sort of your family and where life's taken you.
I married a girl. She went to UNA. She got her nursing degree, got her master's at UAB. She's a nurse practitioner at the Clearview Cancer Institute. So, but yeah, I've been married to her since 2010, and we met in 2005. So, been with her 16 years, and then we're lucky enough to have 3 healthy, beautiful children. I've got my daughter Sadie. She's 3 and loves golf probably more than me. I mean, she just wants to do it next to my side, which is awesome. And so hopefully I'll get the joys of teaching her and her growing up through it. And my boys, which is Cameron and Hunter, and they're 6 and 8, and they're soccer players. They love soccer. So, but wherever life takes them, I'll back them. But hopefully I can get them on the course here soon enough. But yeah.
Daniel, we've enjoyed talking with you. Last thing, Hall of Fame induction. You got some time till October to think about your speech, but how excited are you, looking forward to your family and that day and what this place means to you?
I got a lot to time to think about it, thank goodness, but I am looking forward to the day. It's an important day. It's awesome to be a part of history for UNA, and something that my kids, hopefully they'll grow up and come here and they can say that that's my dad on that wall, you know, so special.
Daniel, thank you very much.